Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise, get you informed fast.
Today, we're looking at the SSC CGL protests, July, August 2025 in India.
Right. And this isn't just about some exam going wrong. It's bigger.
Much bigger. It's about how a major government recruitment test basically ignited a nationwide firestorm.
A firestorm that exposed, well, systemic failures and, maybe more importantly, the voice of really frustrated young people.
Exactly. Our sources, articles, research, they point to, frankly, a profound breach of trust in these public exam systems.
Okay, so let's dive in. What exactly kicked off this crisis? What was the spark?
Well, it's fascinating how it built. It really started with just a fundamental breakdown in the basics, simply trying to take the exam.
Okay, so before we even get to the exam day itself, what were those initial hurdles, the practical stuff?
Imagine this. You're an aspirant, you've studied for months, maybe years. You get your admit card just 2 days before the test.
2 days. That's tight.
Very tight. And then you see your center is like 400, sometimes 500 kilometers away.
Wow. For students, many maybe not well off, that's a huge cost, right? Financially, logistically.
Massive burden, yeah. And for many families, making huge sacrifices already.
So, okay, some managed to travel all that way.
Yeah.
What did they find then? You mentioned something feeling like a calculated insult.
That's what people called it. They arrive, often after traveling overnight, exhausted, only to find the exam canceled.
Canceled, just like that.
Just like that. No email, no SMS beforehand, just a notice maybe stuck on a gate.
Oof. That feels disrespectful. Not just messy, but disrespectful.
Deeply. It wasn't seen as just incompetence. It felt, to many, like a deliberate slight.
Okay. And for those who actually got inside the exam hall, was it smooth sailing then?
Not at all. That's where the technical chaos really hit. Widespread reports, everywhere.
Like what? Computers crashing?
Computers crashing, yeah.
Yeah.
Servers failing, exam portals just freezing mid-test.
Oh, man. In a timed exam.
Exactly. As one student put it, only a student knows how much even 10 minutes matter. Losing any time is critical.
And the physical conditions? Were the centers themselves up to scratch?
Sometimes shockingly not. We heard reports, pretty wild ones, of centers housing cattle on the ground floor.
Cattle? Seriously?
Seriously. Or centers just located, middle of nowhere, basically no security, just chaos.
Okay, that paints a picture. Chaotic conditions, feeling disrespected?
Yeah.
That sounds like a recipe for protest. How fast did it escalate?
It escalated incredibly fast. You had initial reports of glitches, mostly on social media, around July 24th.
Okay.
By July 30th, there's a call for a Delhi shallow campaign, like, let's go to Delhi.
A march on the Capitol.
Essentially, yeah. And then July 31st, you see mass protests breaking out. Jantar Mantar, the CGO complex, it exploded.
You mentioned systemic failures earlier. Was there a specific decision, maybe, that people pointed to as making things worse?
Yes, definitely. A really key point here was a change in vendor.
Vendor for running the exam.
Exactly. The SSC, that's the Staff Selection Commission, they'd used Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, for a long time. A big name.
Right, TCS is well known.
But for these Phase 13 exams, they switched. They brought in a new company, Eduquity Career Technologies.
Equity. Okay, was that controversial? Did this company have a track record?
It did, and that's where things get, concerning. Public records show Eduquity was actually declared ineligible back in 2020.
Ineligible? By who?
By another government body, the DGT, Directorate General of Training.
So, red flags already. Were there other issues?
Oh, yes. Eduquity was linked to several cheating and paper leak scandals before this. The MP teacher eligibility test in 2022.
Okay.
The MP Patwari exam in 2023, that one led to a judicial inquiry.
Wow.
And the Maharashtra MBA CET, also 2023. Students actually filed a high court plea there.
So a known problematic history. Was there any public reason given for choosing them despite this?
Not clearly, no. That lack of transparency around the selection became a major grievance itself. Why this vendor, given the past.
Right, so Eduquity gets a contract. What specific problems, what allegations came up during these exams in July, August 2025?
Some pretty alarming claims surfaced. One was that the exact same question paper was used 2 days in a row.
The exact same paper?
That was the allegation, yes. And maybe even more shocking, students reported finding answers already highlighted on their screens.
Pre-highlighted answers. What did the invigilators do?
Well, according to some reports, invigilators basically told students something like, "You're getting benefited, don't complain."
Unbelievable. That just destroys any idea of a fair test.
Completely. Plus, stories of invigilators making mobile reels, short videos during the exam, it suggests a total lack of seriousness, of integrity.
A total breakdown. So how did the students fight back against this? How did they make their voices heard?
The uprising was really fueled by digital power, social media, especially X, formerly Twitter and YouTube.
Hashtags took off, I imagine.
Absolutely. Things like hashtag SSC Mismanagement, hashtag SSC vendor failure started trending nationally. It caught fire online.
I heard online educators got involved. Teachers.
Yes, that was crucial. Popular online teachers, names like Neetu Singh, Ankit Avasthi Sir, Apine Sharma, they have huge followings. Millions of students.
So they use their platforms.
Massively. They amplified student voices, helped organize protests. They became kind of de facto leaders. Several were even reportedly detained by police.
Detained. What was the state's response to the protests generally?
It wasn't always, let's say, constructive. There were allegations of police using lathi charges, baton charges against peaceful demonstrators.
Violence against protesters?
That was the claim, yes. And reports of intimidation. Ironically, that often just fueled more online outrage, made things worse.
So we've got the immediate chaos, the vendor issues, the protests. But you mentioned this isn't new. How does 2025 fit into a bigger picture?
Right. This isn't some bolt from the blue. It's really a symptom of a chronic underlying problem, a historical trust deficit.
Connected to past scandals.
Definitely. Think back to the 2017-2018 SSC CGL paper leak. That was huge. It went all the way to the Supreme Court.
And what did the court say?
They basically said the entire system appeared tainted. That's a strong word. The insight here is that those core vulnerabilities, they were never really fixed. Paper leaks just keep happening every 2 or 3 years, it seems.
So leaks are one issue. Are there other systemic problems eroding trust? I think I heard about something called normalization.
Yes. Normalization. It's this opaque statistical process they use when exams happen in multiple shifts with different papers, supposedly to make scores comparable.
Supposedly. But students don't trust it.
Not really, no. Many aspirants call it a normalization scam. They see these wild, inexplicable score changes.
Like what kind of changes?
Well, there was one widely cited example of a candidate apparently getting an extra 96.7 marks added through normalization.
Nearly 100 extra marks. How?
Nobody knows. It's a black box. And that's the problem. It makes the whole exam feel like, a game of chance, not merit. It feels rigged.
I can see how that would destroy motivation. What's the human cost of all this? For the millions taking these exams.
Oh, the human cost is just crushing. You have millions of young people. They invest years of their lives, their families pour savings into coaching, preparation.
It's a huge investment.
Huge. And when these failures happen again and again, it leads to immense financial loss, obviously, but also deep frustration, anxiety, real hopelessness.
Hopelessness.
Yeah, you hear people saying things like, now is the time to quit. It's heartbreaking. This crisis, plus recent issues with NEET for medical school, UGC Net for university teaching.
It feels like a pattern.
It does. And it's seen as this fundamental betrayal. The promise of a fair shot through these exams, it seems broken. You're talking about an estimated 8.5 million students affected just this year across various exams.
8.5 million.
Yeah.
That's staggering. It erodes faith in the system itself.
Completely. And it wastes India's so-called demographic dividend, all that potential of its youth.
So given this scale, this anger, what were the specific demands from the protesters, and how did the SSC, the authorities, actually respond?
Well, the official response, particularly from the SSC, was widely described as basically a wall of silence, bureaucratic inertia.
No real engagement.
Very little public engagement, no detailed statement explaining things, just a terse announcement later that, okay, exams would be rescheduled at some affected centers.
Which probably felt like not enough.
Exactly. It was seen as totally inadequate, indifferent even. Meanwhile, the protesters, the educators, their demands were quite clear.
What were they asking for?
An independent investigation into the whole vendor selection mess. Immediate cancellation, or at least a review, of Eduquity's contract.
Makes sense.
And broader systemic reforms, more transparency, especially around normalization, and a proper system for handling grievances. Plus, accountability. Someone needs to be held responsible.
Right, accountability. It feels like this whole episode, this deep dive, it reveals more than just a messed up exam process.
It really does. It raises profound questions, doesn't it, about how a country treats the hopes and dreams of its young people.
And what happens when those pathways to a better future, pathways like these exams, seem so fundamentally broken, so unfair?
Yeah. What does that do to trust? Trust between citizens and the state, between the youth and public institutions. It's a critical question.
And perhaps a thought to leave everyone with. How will this generation's experience, this feeling of betrayal perhaps, shape their future engagement with the system, with the state itself?
That's the big question moving forward, isn't it? What are the long-term consequences?